Heat is one of the best crime thrillers of all time. A movie that has it all. Superb action set pieces, tense drama, and some near-career best performances from its cast. Yet the reason this movie has endured to this day is because it's more than just a well-made crime thriller. It's a story of obsession, addiction, and in the end respect, where at times we forget who is on the right or the wrong side of the law. And this nuanced story and tense drama is embodied in its most iconic scene in the diner. It's this scene above all that sets Heat apart from a mere crime genre movie to a cinematic masterpiece. The scene was heavily trailered pre-release, given it was the first shared scene between Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, and it delivered on expectations. The scene is not only perfectly directed and acted, but it's also perfect as a dramatic crescendo for what preceded it. Up until this point, Pacino's Vincent Hanna and De Niro's Neil McCauley have been trying to get the measure of each other from afar. Both puts the other under surveillance and has their team work up a profile to size up their opponent. And both are so methodical and systematic in tracking and profiling the other that if we saw these moments alone, we wouldn't know who was the cop and who was the criminal. And this is the point. Both are professionals doing their jobs, both are obsessive with detail, and both will do anything to achieve their goals, whether that's taking down a score or putting the other away. And so, when they come face to face, each has the opportunity to get the measure of the other at close quarters. But as we'll see in this deconstruction of the scene, they walk away learning more about themselves. And it's in this interaction, both a game of cat and mouse and public therapy session, that we see layers of meaning that require the visual deconstruction we see on screen. In this visualization, I've shown each interaction where one character speaks to the other as a bar, and the size of the bar is the number of words spoken, with the red hot bars representing Vincent and cold blue bars representing Neil. And when one asks a question of the other, I've added a question symbol at the top of the bar. So let's dive into the visual at the start of their face-to-face interaction to explore the layers of meaning in this iconic scene. And given the diner scene's iconic status, it's easy to forget that the scene actually starts when Vincent pulls Neil over on the highway. As Vincent approaches the car, we see Neil is understandably tense with his pistol ready, likely thinking he's about to be taken into custody. But Vincent casually asks him how he is and says he'd like to buy him a cup of coffee. If we look back at this moment, we see Neil's reply to the offer of a cup of coffee isn't immediate, as we see him scanning the surroundings, checking if cop cars have him surrounded or if Vincent is alone. Only once he's sure Vincent is alone, he realises he doesn't have enough evidence to take him in, so he agrees. And Vincent's reply is interesting when he says, "Follow me." This isn't a question, it's an instruction. He's telling Neil, "I have you, I'm in control and you'll do as I say." And even then, Neil watches him in his mirror like a hawk, checking if anyone else is with him. When we get to the diner, we see these two men just staring at each other across the table. Throughout the whole scene, they never drink, they never eat, they just look at and talk to each other. And the first 4 interactions between them all end in questions. In fact, if you just read the questions on a sheet of paper, you'd be forgiven for thinking Vincent was interrogating Neil at the station. Yet that, in a way, is what he is doing, and Neil knows it. So we see his attempts of deflection in their opening exchange. Vincent's first line talking about Neil's time in jail is a clear power play. He's telling him, "I know everything about you. I know where you've done time. I know who you work with. And now I'm working out what you're going to do next." And this is why Neil goes on the defensive, asking Vincent if he's looking to become some kind of expert in jails. This leads Vincent to hit back, asking Neil if he wants to go back to jail. And what follows is Neil questioning if Vincent has what it takes to track and take him down. Yet Vincent isn't taking the bait when he says he's worked all kinds of crews, and he's telling Neil he has what it takes to take him down. After this, Neil says for the first time that he is not going back to jail, and after Vincent tells him not to take down scores, this leads to the start of them trying to get inside each other's heads, yet in doing so confiding in the other and learning more about themselves. Here we see what starts as Vincent trying to learn more about Neil in asking him if he ever wanted a regular type of life. Yet in doing so, Neil flips the question to him, and Vincent, likely through tiredness and being near a mental breakdown, opens up to Neil, probably more than anyone on his team. talking about his failed marriage and how his obsession with chasing criminals like him is the cause. And Neil, in his response, shows Vincent his discipline in leaving any personal attachment in his life in 30 seconds flat. And this brings them to a stalemate, where Vincent says he doesn't know how to do anything else than chase guys like Neil, and Neil says he doesn't know anything other than taking down scores.
It is what it is. It's that or we both better go do something else, pal.
I don't know how to do anything else.
Neither do I.
I don't much want to either.
Neither do I.
Yet it's in his repetition of the words, "neither do I," we see the first smile and warmth from Neil. Here he sees in Vincent's confession someone obsessed with taking him down, yet also someone who doesn't have the discipline to remove attachments to do the job. And he's telling Vincent in the repetition of "neither do I" that he's not backing down. This leads Vincent to talk about his dream of the murder victim staring at him. It's clearly a real recurring dream as he lays out every gruesome detail as the victims stare at him with blank eyes. They look at him and he wakes up. That's it. It's a level of detail more akin to a therapy session on a couch than an interrogation with a suspect, and the longest line of 79 words. This is one man confiding in another, talking about his innermost fears, likely for the first time to another person. And Neil reciprocates, talking about his own dream, where he's drowning and realises he needs to wake himself up. In his description there's less detail, a quarter of Vincent's with just 21 words. Yet it's still authentic, and when Vincent asks Neil what he thinks about it, in Neil we see clarity contrasting to Vincent's more detailed yet less understood dream. As he immediately replies, it's about having enough time to do what he wants to do in his life. And when Vincent asks if he's doing it yet, Neil replies, "Not yet." Here he's telling Vincent he doesn't want to take down scores for the sake of it. It's about the money, and when he has enough, he's out. It's at this point we reach the crescendo of their conversation. Here we see Vincent saying two things. The first is he respects Neil, that he won't like it if he puts him away, yet he will take him out if it means he can avoid other people getting killed as he takes down a score. And Neil's response for me is the critical moment of the whole conversation. It's the longest line from Neil at 47 words, and yet it's concise, as he talks about how despite also having respect for Vincent, he will not hesitate to take him out.
There's a flip side to that coin. What if you do got me boxed in, and I gotta put you down? Because no matter what, you will not get in my way. We've been face to face, yeah. But I will not hesitate. Not for a second.
And with both men saying they are willing to take out the other, we see here a declaration of war and a signal for the audience that by the end of the movie, one of them will die. And when Neil concludes the conversation saying that maybe we'll never see each other again, he means it. As unbeknownst to Vincent, he and his crew have already planned to dump their surveillance, putting Vincent into a checkmate to conclude the chess game they started from the moment he pulled Neil over and asked him to go to the diner. Though back to the signal that one of them would die, they do of course meet again, and Vincent now gets the final checkmate and his man when he kills Neil. But it's in this moment there's no victory, only loss. And we see this when Vincent holds Neil's hand as he dies. He didn't need to do that, but he did it out of respect, and who knows, out of some kind of friendship, holding the hand of the man who listened to his innermost fears and doubts, yet also holding the hand of the man he had to take down. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel, and please check out my other movie analysis videos. Thanks again for watching, and remember, in the way of data and observation, we can save entertainment.